Hey all, and welcome to a preview video for the next Star Trek New Horizons patch, the mod for Stellaris that makes into an amazing Star Trek world, called Into the Mirror Darkly. Into the Mirror Darkly is focused on on the Mirror universe, frankly, and I think we'll talk about that in one of the next segments here. But there's an absolute ton of changes. As always, the devs are cramming in things left and right, fixing pictures, fixing graphics, fixing ship models, as well as completely changing some core systems in ways that make it really interesting, updating the Mirror universe, adding in the Relics, all sorts of stuff that we'll talk about here. It's really exciting. I'm excited to show you a couple quick highlights of things you can expect in the new patch, which should be due out in a few weeks or soon. I'm not really sure what the answer to that is, but I'm sure the developers will let everyone know when it's officially going to be out. Lots of fun content, lots of things that I'm really excited to play with. I'm really excited to have on my channel. So thank you to the devs for giving me a preview build. It's been fun to poke around in, and hopefully you guys are excited with all the stuff you're going to see moving forward here. The first thing I wanted to cover, because it's kind of fundamental to everything, is that the developers have revamped the planets and the districts. The planets are more graphical. There's some new planet typing that's going on, and then also these backgrounds for the planets are new, so you get some really nice stuff. That's been integrated in fact, the pictures will change. So this is one polar picture, but if I come over here, I thought I had another polar picture somewhere. Sometimes it changes. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, there we go. See? Different polar pictures. So these backgrounds were integrated in from another mod, and the devs got permission to do that. So really cool, nice graphical touches. But then if you go in and you look at one of the systems here, so we'll look at Earth, you'll see the districts are dramatically different. And each planet can have 6 types of districts, but they don't give jobs. You see here that these actually give housing, and for instance, that requires water ice to build that. So right there, that's a major change. Or they give you bonuses to various types of production. Extra stability, lower crime, extra energy production, trade value, etc. And what's unique about that is then the only jobs you can get come from buildings, which is a really big change. Really big change. Now I have all the tech unlocked here for this version, so you're seeing sort of some, the longer end buildings here. There's a ton of stuff, and they've actually added in, you can see here, this is, I believe, a new image. They've started to tweak some of the images as well, so there's a ton more sort of building graphics in the game as well. So it's a lot of fun stuff here, and frankly, of all the changes, there's a couple others we're going to talk a little bit about in the next couple segments, but of all the changes, this is the one that both excites me and kind of scares me the most, because if you're used to what Stellaris typically is in terms of how you build districts to get more jobs, to do that kind of stuff, it's not going to be the case here. You're really going to have to focus on the buildings and use the districts as your bonuses. And that's unique and that's different. I also don't know, one thing I haven't checked, I wonder if I can do that. I can see every planet right now, so I'm not sure if I can do this. Hold on. Yeah, so you'll see different amounts of districts like you would expect to see anywhere. It's what I assumed was the case. What I don't know is if you can have multiple types of districts. So like if there are 6 types on one planet, but then different ones on the other one. There's a monastery, right? So that's different right away. Gardens, that's different. Artifact fish district. There's an ag district and villages. So you are going to definitely see this as a spiritual retreat. So you're going to see different districts depending upon the planet you're on, which means you can't even rely on the districts like this, sort of have your quote-unquote mental autopilot, if you will. You're going to have to really go through and remember what's ongoing. One thing I'm noticing here is I set, so the Terran's got all of the tech. So what you're seeing here is city, housing, +7 on Vulcan, which is not our system. But if we go to the United Earth system over here and go to Sol, quickly, or Mars, doesn't really matter. Well, Mars actually has different districts. Dome City, there we go. But if we go to Earth, this city here is a higher end city. So I assume that happened through some of the tech that I researched. So you're going to see the districts evolve as well, which is really cool. So there's a ton of stuff here. It means you're going to have to pay more attention, which is, I think, a good thing, frankly. So that's our first one here, looking a little bit at the economic district system, and planets, which can be very, very different. The next thing I wanted to talk about were ships. A couple things with ships. So one that is, a little bit hard to notice here, but I'm going to point out I'm using Gorn ships here for a reason. This is a battleship. This is a patrol frigate. See the size difference? They've rescaled all the ships to be more reasonable for how they should look next to each other, which is really fun. So your fleets will feel a little bit more powerful. It's a little bit hard to tell. You can see how big that one is. Sorry. Yep. Pause the game. There we go. You can see how big those are in comparison with the lighting behind there. But really nice to see that. What's more important to me is that they are fixing sublight speed. Now, I'll unpause here for a second. See how fast they move across the systems? If you've played a long-running game of Stellaris, one of the things that you will know, especially New Horizons, is that it gets really painful to move fleets from one part of your empire to the other. Because they basically slow the heck down in system. So they warp, they walk across the system really slowly, then they warp again, then they keep on walking. It just takes forever. So the developers realized that and knew it was an issue, and what they basically did was some funky magic. You can read about it in the dev diary, but effectively all ships emit an aura that allows them to go faster in space that is immediately canceled when there's combat. Because the problem was your speed going across the system was tied to your combat speed, and the faster combat speed, the stronger you are. So they couldn't just make that better. They had to do other things to sort of make it more realistic and balanced. So they did that, which is great. Let me tell you, just being able to move across the system faster is so nice. And the last thing I wanted to talk about ships was, just sort of nicely, these all are the new Gorn ships. And these came from, I believe, the Star Trek Continuum Homeworld Remastered mod. So they are able to integrate in some more content. One of the really cool things is that devs have made friends with other mod creators and that kind of stuff, and they're utilizing that. So some really nice bits and pieces for ships, nice new scaling, the speed fix, which I am so happy for, and some new Gorn ships, which are pretty cool as well. As you might expect with the name Into the Mirror Darkly, this mod has an absolute ton of attention paid to the Mirror Universe. Predominantly that's through the Terran Empire. They've done a massive revamp to how the Terran Empire works, the events, they've added events. You can use the Tantalus advice, you can rule the Terran Empire however you want. You can have fights between emperors, you can stage a coup, all sorts of things are possible. So they've really worked hard to make the Mirror Universe, which is what I'm in right now, feel more elaborate and more open. At the same time, they've done an absolute ton to ships in the Mirror Universe. So I'm going to look at the Terran Empire ships here. And you can see here, as I mentioned in one of the previous sections, they're all scaled much better now. But they also picked up some specialty here. You have a little bit of paint there. You're going to see on the Sovereign some significant paint changes. You'll see some Terran Empire symbols on there. So that's really exciting. Glad they are making it more unique, if you will. And I'll show a couple more of those in a second. But what's most important is this. This is the Charon. This is the Imperial Throne with the Singularity right there from Star Trek Discovery. Absolutely massive, absolutely powerful. Tons of hit points, tons of armor, tons of shields, 27k power by itself. It's like a Borg cube, basically. I have all the technologies researched, so it's a little bit unfair. But then if you come down here, and I just put it next to the Galaxy, unpause for a split second, look how much bigger it is than the Galaxy class. It is just stunning. So an absolutely great job. Really fun model. Looks great moving around as well. You can actually almost see it. Like, it's big enough that you kind of see it there. So it's just absolutely stunning. And as I mentioned, if you look at the various ships, you'll see Imperial symbols pop up there on the engines, on the nacelles, in other places around the ship. So they really have tried to make the models just a little bit more unique for the Terran Empire. So as the name says, yes, tons of stuff in the Mirror Universe. You're going to see a lot of people playing these. It's going to be a lot of fun. Lots of interesting things you're going to have to deal with. as you get to dig into the Terran Empire a little bit. One other thing to highlight about ships is that they've introduced a new ship system called Flagships. These are basically exploration flagships. So they show up as a civilian ship. This is a sovereign class. So I've researched everything, so I have everything. It's a civilian ship, but it's got 11K power. It's like a military ship. If you look here, it's got its full complement of weapons, and obviously these are crazy weapons when you think about it. But they can sort of be your science ship flagship. They can go off and do stuff, kind of like what the Galaxy class, the Sovereign, Enterprise were. They were armed, but they were trying to do science and explore and that kind of stuff. And so the devs have sort of done that by making a very strong science ship versus your basic initial one, right? Which will be really cool. Right now, only the Terran and the Federation can do that, so it's relatively limited, but I think there might be plans to expand that. I'm not actually certain, so I say that, please ignore me. I don't know. What's really nice, though, is that one of the other things they've introduced are 3-year voyages. So you can actually send your science ships out in the late game to go look for new life and new civilizations, sort of, quote-unquote, outside the universe. Come back with things, gain experience, all that kind of jazz. So really cool that that's a capability that's going to happen, too. But the flagships alone, really nice to see. Really fun to make a much more sort of chunky ship, if you will, one that can survive going out into the wilds of the universe. So there you go. Flagships, a new system from this patch as well. Another thing that's coming in with this patch are really the adoption of relics to the fullest degree. So ancient relics brought about these things you can research and find throughout the map. And now Stellaris New Horizons is going to have that. They're going to have passive and active effects. There are about, I think they said over 50 of them, including sort of the Terran sort of state, which you can activate, which will give you passively 1 monthly unity. But when it's active, you gain trained officers. Here, Setham Cochrane's shotgun, which is a little scary. That does change the Terran story, right? Extra unity, and then more unity gained as well. So there's going to be a ton of these. You might be able to find the Iconian probe, the Abernath, a whole ton of different things that you're going to be able to research, figure out, go through the whole cool sort of research process, which I really enjoy, and then you'll see where you get. And then if you get it well, you can harvest it and use it for things, whatever that happens to mean. So lots of stuff to explore there with the relics. I've only begun to minorly dabble. So I don't know a ton of what's out there to see. I really haven't seen a lot of them yet in my little practice playthroughs. But they are there, and they're definitely something to explore. So it should be exciting to see, and some nice story-driven content for you to unlock and explore as you're playing through. So everyone, I hope you enjoyed that little preview of a few of the key systems and new things you're going to see into the Mirror Darkly patch. There's a ton of stuff in here that I didn't get a chance to show and highlight. There's some Borg-specific icons for buildings, lots of new early game events that you can deal with. They've changed ground-to-space defenses and really brought them back in, made them more exciting. Same thing with defensive fighters. You can completely do new things with slaves. There's the Vaudouar are in here. As I mentioned, the economy revamp isn't just districts and buildings, but goes to changing how resources are deployed and all sorts of other things that you can pick up. I mean, just right here, you can see the water ice that you can mine immediately, which is really, well, not immediately, but on a planet as opposed to building a building for it. So tons of stuff there, new deposits, new archaeological sites. Dangerous technologies are actually dangerous, which is fascinating and really exciting now, because normally you look at the dangerous technologies and you kind of go, oh yeah, I'll do that, and nothing happens. Well, now they are there. There's other new events that folks within the community asked for, which is really cool. There's the mirror invasion that relates to the Tholians. I will leave it there, but there's a lot more there. I mentioned the 3-year expeditions when we were talking about the flagships. Planet generation, it actually works within systems, so colder planets are further away, warmer planets are closer. Just sort of how star systems are supposed to work. You can change the start conditions. So I think if you've watched my videos at all, you know that towards the end, if you have so many empires, the game just slows down. Well, you can tweak how many empires you want. Do you want a lot? You want a little? They've changed primitive races. So there are now early warp primitives who have warp but can't go outside of their system. There's just a ton of stuff in here, and I think there's probably more that I'm not mentioning. So really excited for this. Lots of stuff to dig into. Get ready to see the Terran Empire. Go to war with pretty much the rest of the galaxy. Should be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this preview. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment. Go check out the mod, Stellaris, New Horizons, and then the new patch, Into the Mirror Darkly. Well worth your time, as always. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.